do we train our models on our customers' data? So the first answer is no. We do not train models at all on anyone's data. And the reason is because if you train these weights of these generative AI models, you had Claude Sonnet, and then you had Opus, and now Mythos. The core foundation model itself is getting so much better that you would just throw away all your work. It would go to nothing. Now, when customers ask that, they're mostly wanting to know, can I trust you? Are you keeping my data secure and private, right? And the answer to that, of course, is that we keep it secure. We always work inside these single-tenant private clouds where we are getting a copy of a model, for example, the Anthropic Opus model. And so we're structuring data and information into what's called a harness. So a lot of people realize this, like in AI, you don't want to train weights, fine-tune weights. You want to build what's called a harness, which has your logic and all of your data. And you're then basically doing prompting or a series of promptings of the model. And that data doesn't flow out to a different server so that Anthropic could, use it to train their next foundation model. And next thing you know, they know everything about circuit boards or steel or plastics, right? That doesn't happen. We have a copy, basically on premise. We have a copy of the model in our single-tenant private clouds premise. And our harness is making sure that the right data and the right prompts are getting to it to solve the problem. So you can think about it as all being inside the bubble. Data does not go out. No third party gets to train on it. Now, related to training, is the one thing I want to add to this is the only reason sometimes I hesitate, do you train on data? Do not train in terms of bake into the weights. We do not allow anyone else to train on the data. But do we learn things to help our customer? Absolutely. So what we do is inside of our harness and our data, generally for individual customers, although many customers do give us the right across an industry to build up a library of knowledge, is we collect examples of how a problem is solved. And we can anonymize and aggregate data. We can create libraries of examples that allow our data harness, our system, to reference those examples and solve a problem well. So take, for example, in circuit boards, we connect to these pick-and-place robots, and we want to know why they have downtimes. So we are able to recognize the error codes of the Fuji machine and the given situations, all the errors that it throws off, and that means exactly this downtime is happening. And that is something that we can build into our system and take manufacturer to manufacturer. So you drop in and just boom, it works immediately. It doesn't need to be retrained. Now, again, to be precise about the language, we're not training the weights of the model, but we're configuring, so to speak, our harness. We don't have to reconfigure the harness. We don't have to do any work manufacturer to manufacturer to make it work, because we have built the industry knowledge about how to make an AI system that works customer to customer. This does not require us to embed the customer's data in what we're doing. So it's kind of a subtle but really important distinction. We do not embed the customer's data in our models. We don't let anybody else embed their data in the models. We do learn how to write prompts, and we, when we're allowed by our customer, can accumulate examples that can be referenced that allow us to solve industry problems. The same way an industry expert would learn in their head how to ask the right questions and would have an accumulated experience of, I saw this and this defect happened and I remember what to do. And actually they remember it from a discrete number of examples that they can recall consciously versus maybe just baked into the brain. And that's like the difference between training the weights and the data. So bottom line, don't train weights because it's impractical. Don't let anybody else train because that customer does not want that. Do collect examples when the customer wants us to, so that this is a learning system that doesn't have to be retaught what it's doing. And that subtle difference is an example of something that I think customers ask of the best vendors, like protect my data and learn. How do you answer that? In the way that I just explained.